Welcome to problem number 6 from the H8-9 homework. So it says, is the quantity of x minus 4 a factor of x to the third plus 64? Okay, so there's a couple ways that we could, figure this out. One thing we know here that is if x minus 4, right, is the factor, then we know that, if we set that equal to 0 and we solve it, we get x equals 4 would be the root. So that would mean here if we had this function here, x to the third plus 64 equals 0, and we were saying here that we thought 4 was the root, right? We'd have to plug in 4 and it would have to make it true. So if I plugged in 4 here, 4 cubed plus 64, right? Well, 4 cubed is 64. 64 plus 64 is 128. That does not equal 0, so therefore we can conclude no, this is not a root. Or x minus 4 is not a factor. Okay, now, a second way to do it, remember, is you could take it here, and if it is a factor, when you divide, there won't be any remainders. So I could take this and set this up using like synthetic division. I could say here, x to the third is like going to have a plus 0x squared plus a 0x in between that we don't see, plus 64. So when I write my root value in and I write out my coefficients, I should have 1, 0, 0, 64. And remember, if we divide here and we get a remainder of 0, it is a factor. If we don't get a 0 as a remainder, then it is not a factor. So 1 times 4 is 4. We add it, we get 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 16 is going, 16 times 4 is going to be 64, and we add those, we get 128. Okay, so therefore, we can see here, because there is a remainder, it is not a factor. So, no, this is not a factor. That is the answer to number 6 for H8-9.